Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Your Football Show, and it is time for Premier League predictions. I'm really excited actually for this show. I've been looking forward to it since I put together the list of what we were going to chat about. We did the Leeds predictions yesterday on the midweek fix, and today we're going to be looking at our Premier League predictions. And of course, we've got some regular faces, some main fixtures that will hopefully be here throughout the season. Friday and Monday, I think we agreed we were going to do. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll sort something out anyway. We're all just absolutely buzzing because, of course, Premier League football returns tomorrow. It doesn't seem like 2 minutes since we were staying up on the last day and stuff. Oscar, it's been good. How are you, Oscar? Are you doing all right?
I can't wait for the new season to start. Oh, dearie me. I'm good, mate. Good. Listen, obviously watching Leeds last pre-season friendly, feel better having seen that. I know they were terrible, the team we were playing, but no, good, mate. Looking forward to it. I think you're looking at an unbelievable season again. By the looks of things, top six looks super strong. Even the mid-table teams, really tough, in terms of trying to do these predictions, in terms of just jotting it down this afternoon, because it's just, they all look so strong. You know what I mean? Palace, Villa, they all like they could. There's a lot of different teams who could finish top 10 this season as well. So there's a lot of different battles this season, and I mean it's going to be another cracker. To be fair.
Yeah, agreed. Corey, how are you, mate? I know you're just still recovering from your trip to Benidorm. We missed you last week, but how are you doing, mate?
I'm good. Good to see you got the big man Skamaka in the thumbnail. I appreciate you putting him in because we've had a few sketchy moments over the last day or so with transfers. So it's nice to remind us you've actually signed someone. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm like you. I'm looking forward to the Prem. It's been, it feels a lot longer than it's actually been, but I know this season's going to be a bit mad with 3 months of Premier League football and then a World Cup, and so I'm looking forward to it, mate. And there's a lot of content kicking around at the minute. I still haven't got around to Arsenal All or Nothing, so yeah, that should be interesting as well.
Yeah, I just started watching the first episode actually before it came live. It's good, man. I'm enjoying it so far. I just can't wait for the Aubameyang fallout. That's what I'm waiting for.
Mate, I'm all over the speakers at the training ground.
Oh, what? It was mad, wasn't it, man? What was
mad,
he doing?
Madness.
Oh, it's so bad, when you think about that. Does everyone know what we're talking about?
I thought it was a joke.
The worst thing was we got absolutely smashed afterwards as well. That's how cringy it is. I actually can't believe that.
I know, right? And it's just so bad.
I'm just waiting for the next set of episodes because I want to see our game where we stop them getting Champions League, and that's what I want to see. I want to see that. They're just going to skip over that, aren't they? They're just going to be like, oh, I got beat. Off you go. Oh.
Yeah, it was class. It has been class. Just, Corey, before I move on, what's going on with this? Is it an Arna deal? What? In what world does he see Everton as a better prospect than West Ham right now? Do you think it's the Lampard effect?
No, it's just money, mate. It's just.
Is that what it is? Is that what it's boiled down to?
No, I don't want to completely throw it. I mean, I've got to be honest. Having been on holiday for a week, it's kind of been back and forth and just trying to keep up with things. But I think it's interesting from West Ham's point of view that Moyes and the board apparently aren't super keen on bringing him in, which I don't understand because if you're going to spend 40 million euros and bid 4 times on a player, surely at some point you'd think, actually he's worth the money. So is it that bad of him to ask for a certain wage that he'd expect? Oh, we're offering something that's derisory. But if you're talking about between West Ham and Everton in football terms, it's not, at the minute, it's not comparable. So it's such a weird thing. And we've kind of had our fingers burnt a little bit anyway recently. I mean, Kostic is another one that we thought maybe we'd get through the door, but slightly different with you being a massive club. So yeah, hopefully we get Cornet in and a few others before the start of the season. But a weird one, mate, I've got to be honest.
17.5 million, though, for Cornet. That's happy days, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, it's a weird one because I think some of the signs we've made have been really good. They have been positive. I can't fault them, but it's just, again, it's really just numbers. And what I liked, and we'll probably get onto West Ham, but what I've liked so far is at least a proactive approach. If we can't get a target, then there's another one lined up, then we're looking for another player. So it's not like we're not trying. It's probably like even the first time in my memory that actually players either want to join a club for money or they just don't fancy West Ham and they want to go to another club, which is absolutely fine. But I'm sure with a lot of clubs we'll see in the next month, the loan deal's starting to come out because obviously with the 5 sub rule this season, I think a lot of teams are going to need a little bit more squad depth.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Locks, I love this from Harmony. She said, I seen you chuckling as it came in as well. They say, have Leicester won a friendly somewhere because Locks is here. Because you have a bit of a reputation of not showing up when you get beat, mate. So do you think we'll see? Yeah. Will we see you throughout the season, or is it just because there's been no games played? Because we were talking off air, and I shared it with some of the viewers earlier when I did the press conference video. You've been on a bit of an emotional roller coaster at the minute with Leicester, aren't you, mate? You're up and down like a yo-yo. What's going down?
I have been for the last 12 months, mate. Like since the start of last season, it's been a bit like I don't know, mate. I did not think 6 months ago that Leicester would be in a worse position now than we were, last season, and we are. So, but they could surprise us every season since we won the league. Every season in the last 3 or 4 years. I've thought we're going to do quite well. Like last season, for instance, we've done the opposite basically of what I've thought the last few years. So I'm not very confident for this season. They might surprise us. I was tempted to put Leicester in the surprise package category because I think it would be a surprise if we end up getting like Europa League or something this year. It would be a big surprise. But it's not been a great few weeks, to be honest with you, mate. It's I mean, I'm sure we'll get on to it. Yeah, it's been tough. It's been very tough. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. It's been a while. It's been too long.
Good, yeah. We're glad you're back as well, mate. Thank you for being here. And we have like a famous person with us. Someone said, "Was that girl on Overlap?" Yes, this is Kendall Rowan from the Overlap, a Newcastle fan.
Stop.
How are you, mate? Do you know what I found quite interesting with Newcastle? Obviously, you're out there putting fields, but you just can't seem to like get them over the line. Do you think it's like Newcastle tax because you've got money, they want extra money, or what's the situation?
I think it's a mixture of a few things. I think where for some reason the owners or whoever's in charge of transfers aren't willing to pay that little bit extra that clubs want. I understand negotiating, that's perfectly fine, but offering 35 million for James Maddison, in my opinion, is an insult. So I don't know why we've done that. We know what Leicester value him at now. We've gone in with a second bid, which again was about 15 million below the belt. So yeah, just a little bit frustrating. Because I do think that we, in my opinion, we needed at least one attacker in before Saturday. That's obviously not going to happen now. But it is what it is. We've had a decent window so far. Obviously, Botman's locked off, Pope locked off, Target locked off. So it's been okay. But I'm concerned that we don't get an attacker in now before the end of the window. And Callum Wilson is literally made of crisps. So
Almiron's been smashing it in pre-season, though, hasn't he?
Yes, he has 6 goals. 6 goals pre-season, might be 7 actually. 6 or 7 goals in pre-season. He's looked really, really strong. I went to the games on Friday and Saturday against Atalanta and Athletic Club. Sorry, I'll get wrong for saying Bilbao for La Liga fans. And yeah, it looked decent again. Probably they're going to say, he's like a new signing. You know, that like excuse everyone makes, like when we don't sign him and say, it's all right, Almiron's like a new signing. But Chris Wood's not, and neither's Jacob Murphy. So, one step forward, 2 steps back a little bit. But yeah, I'm just I am getting a little bit frustrated now, and everyone's like attacking me on Twitter, like, you don't trust the owners, you're so negative. Like, I'm not negative, I'm just real. Like, we needed another striker last year. It wasn't like, this isn't a new thing. Like, it's not just like this summer. We needed one last year. So yeah, getting a little bit frustrated now, but we've still got a month left. Well, just under a month left of the transfer window. So
what do you make to the Harrison stuff?
Initially, I was just like, okay. Like, it wasn't like, it was just like a very, not an underwhelming signing, but it was just like one that I wouldn't have personally gone for at the time. And then obviously they were saying, he's worth £35 million. And then the price rose to 40. And I was like, look, like not even being with Jack Harrison, I think he's a really decent player, but 40 million for Jack Harrison is wild to me. So I was just like a bit like, it's just a bit confusing. But I just hope we get, I just want someone, like the Cornet deals annoyed me because I said today, it actually annoyed me because he was someone that I said should have been locked off from the beginning. Everyone knew that he'd probably leave Burnley. He wasn't going to play in the Championship. So yeah, that was just a little bit sorry, I muted myself. Especially at 17.5 million, like that's a no-brainer to me. But yeah, obviously they went in for him, and that's fair enough.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah, Yeah, Jack Harrison. I think even Leeds fans, if 35 to 40 million came in, I think we would say that's a hell of a lot of money. But I don't want Jack to leave. Let me just advocate that. I've said that all the way through. Hopefully he does stay, and I think he will. But let's get straight into now that we've welcomed everyone. Please do smash a like on the video as well, and make sure you subscribe to each of these folks' channels as well. And I just reminded myself that I've not put it in the description, so while we're talking, I will do that as well, right? So my apologies. But we're going to start with Premier League champions. That's one we've got up next, or first, sorry, should I say. I am going to take that down because I feel like you're too far away. You look like maybe, no, yeah, that didn't work either. I was going to leave that there, but you look mild. We look tiny. So champions, yeah. Who wants to start us off? Oscar, you start us off, mate. Who's your Premier League champions?
Liverpool. I think it'll be really, really tight. I think it's going to go to the last day of the season again. I think the difference between Liverpool and City is very, very minimal. It's hard. It's a coin toss really for me. But just watching that Community Shield final, I know it's a friendly, it's a glorified friendly and all this lot. But the fact how easily I felt Liverpool won that game, considering City are pretty much close to their full starting 11 out, and Liverpool had a much weakened starting 11. I think that's quite telling. I think City have made a lot of changes. I think obviously Haaland, Alvarez, I was massively impressed by, but there's no denying Haaland has got injury problems. He is probably going to miss some bits of the season, which could be quite painful for City. But I just think Liverpool just seems so much more settled. I think if you look at the back end of last season, they were the much better team than City back end of last season. They made up a lot of points in the second half of the season. I think they were 14 points back at one point. In the end, they only lose the league by a point. I just think they've kept it a little bit more settled, and City's eye will be more on the Champions League. So this could even be Pep's last season at City. He wants that Champions League more than anything, and I think he probably will be willing to put all the eggs in that Champions League basket. But it'll still be really close. Liverpool for me.
Liverpool. Corey?
Yeah, it's like a real 50-50 like every time we talk about these. It's so difficult. I'll probably, just as if I was a betting man, it would just be City, just because I've seen them so many times have staying power over the course of the season. But I do think Liverpool's like a really interesting discussion, because if they finish or they start the season like they finished it last and they were able to maintain that, and there's a possibility that they could with a little bit more squad depth, we know that City do have the odd game where they can slip up. So it may be closer, but I just think City, even so, will probably edge it. Oscar makes a great point about Haaland and injuries, but I just don't know. I've seen that Man City machine roll along for so many years now. I'm like, Liverpool have got to be absolutely spot on. But listen, we all know them two will probably be clear for most of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Kendall, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, same. It's very tough to decide this year, because I think both teams have strengthened where they need to. Aside from maybe Liverpool in midfield, obviously, they probably needed a midfielder in. But other than that, I think they've both strengthened. Again, totally agree with Corey. Like, you can't look past City just simply because of who they are. Like, they know how to win when it matters the most. Like, obviously, aside from Champions League wise, in the league, and Pep just knows what he's doing. If this is going to be his last year, coming up to his last year, he's going to want to put everything into it. And I'm pretty sure once Haaland gets settled, and things like that, there was runs that he was making against Liverpool. I was like, you know what? On any other day, he would have had that lockdown. It's just he needs to fit into the system that Pep plays. So yeah, I think I would just go with City just simply because of historically they've known how to win a league. But yeah, I think it's going to be really, the league across the board, I think this season is going to be probably one of the highest qualities we've seen for a long time.
I agree. It's going to be good. Locks, go on.
Yeah, like everyone said, it's going to be really close. I think it goes down to Haaland. I think Oscar or Corey mentioned that. I think if he can stay fit, I think there might be an issue if he does get injured, if it's a long-term injury or if he's in and out of the team throughout the year. But I think Grealish might have a good year this time. This time round, obviously wasn't the best last year. Obviously Calvin they've brought in, so I think City will edge it. It'll be close. Maybe up to 5 points difference, something like that. But I've got to put money on City. So
yeah, I've gone City as well. So it's almost a clean sweep apart from the the person who lives near Liverpool. So so yeah, I've gone for City as well. I think just adding Haaland to it, I was really impressed with Alvarez as well. Like even just like in the first half, I think you had Grealish and Mahrez, but then just bringing on a little bit of pace with that Alvarez and Foden. I thought it just switched it up instantly. I thought I was quite impressed with them. I think the only issue, like obviously, is left back missing out on Cucurella. If Cancelo gets an injury, is Josh Wilson-Esbrand like ready? I don't know, but I still think like City for me. Like I just think if Haaland does click, then they'll be away, won't they? They'll be away. I think City for me. City, nice and easy apart from Oscar, but then again, you might be right, Oscar. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll see. I just think the City team, a couple of injuries in certain areas. As you said, Cancelo, Mahrez as well. I think on that right hand side, obviously no more Sterling, no more Jesus. I just think maybe one or two problems could emerge. But I tell you what, if they don't get an injury, City, then you probably would have to go with City. But playing that many games in such a short period of time before the World Cup. That's another factor as well, by the way. Salah and Diaz won't be going to the World Cup. They'll be totally fresh.
Neither's Haaland. Haaland's not either.
True.
So
that's totally undone the point. That I hope you feel happy about yourself now.
Sorry, mate.
Point I'm going to make there, and then Joe just.
No, but that's what I'm saying though. In terms of it's literally like. You could have, it's mad season, isn't it? Because what is it? Is it like 3 months till the World Cup starts? So, like these teams, I think, who was I talking to the other day? Was it?
There's one international break between now and the World Cup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wall-to-wall football.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, like, if these two teams like set off out of the blocks and then they have a rest when the World Cup's on, they come back fresher and boom again. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how it does unfold. We'll do Champions League spaces now. I'm conscious, obviously, we've all got City and Liverpool in there clearly. So it's just whoever makes up third and fourth. I'll start us off this time. I have gone for both North London clubs. I think Chelsea might miss out, which might be a shock, but I'm not sure on them. I'm not sure on Todd Bowley and the business and that. I don't know. They just seem to be bidding for every player that everyone else has wants. I don't know. It seems a bit strange. I'm not sure what the plan is. I don't think the pre-season's gone that well either. So for me, I think Jesus looks fire, and that Spurs have got Conte and their business has been sick. So I think it'll be Spurs and Arsenal plus obviously Liverpool, City. Corey?
Yeah, I agree. I've changed my tune. I think I had Chelsea initially to be, fourth? Because I just couldn't see them dropping. And I still think the business they've done's been all right. But there is something about the way that they're playing, maybe the manner of the results, even the business to a degree. You're right. It seems a little bit scattergun and a bit panicky. And I don't know, listen, is Todd Bowley saying to Tuchel, we need to get players in. This is all you can get in. And maybe he's kind of going, fine, I'll work with it. But I've seen Tuchel be really, really unhappy in pre-season. So, and I think Arsenal, and again, pre-season doesn't often mean a lot, but Arsenal do look really, really strong. And a lot of the signings that they've brought in just seem to be able to just seamlessly fit into that team. So from a recruitment point of view, for Arsenal and Spurs, they look really, really strong. So yeah, I'm going to go, Spurs third and Arsenal fourth, but it's a bit of a toss-up, to be honest, at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is. I almost picked Man United at one point. I can't lie to you. I don't know.
You saw that Sancho goal and you're all over it. That's what
he's in my FPL team. I will say that much. Kendall?
Yeah, I've gone same as you, Joe, Spurs and Arsenal. Don't get us wrong, I think Chelsea have done decent business in terms of what they've done. So obviously Koulibaly and Sterling, I think, is two unbelievable signings. I love Raheem Sterling. Everyone knows I think Raheem Sterling is just unbelievable. So I think they've done relatively good business, but I did watch them in pre-season and having spoke to, I've got a lot of Chelsea fan friends and they've all said that they don't see themselves like just the team in general, like the air around the club's not the same. Obviously they're going into a season under a massive change, which is just, they've never had this for pretty much about nearly 20 years. So it's going to be a massive change for them. So, but I do still think, Chelsea have got absolute massive heritage, especially in the Champions League and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did get top 4, but my prediction is that Spurs will be 3rd and Arsenal will be 4th.
Nice. I didn't expect to. Well, we're not at a clean sweep yet, are we? Locks.
I hope Matt Hayes isn't watching, but I've gone Spurs 3rd. Been quite impressed with the players they've brought in. To be fair, they tried Madison, and it ain't gonna happen. But I think they've done enough, and yeah, I think they'll finish it. I really hope he's not watching. I hope he don't watch his back. But yeah, but I haven't gone Arsenal in 4th. I've gone Chelsea. I think they'll have just enough. I think Sterling's a great signing. I get what Corey's saying and stuff, and what other people are saying about it. Kind of seems a bit panicky. I don't get the whole Cucurella thing. I know it isn't confirmed yet, but I don't really get that signing. But yeah, I think they'll have enough. Arsenal, they've brought in some quality players. Don't get me wrong, Zinchenko and Jesus are brilliant signings. But I just think they'll do in Arsenal, if I'm honest, at some point in the season and have a bad run. So yeah, Chelsea.
Chelsea, fair enough. Oscar?
And North London. Arsenal 3, Tottenham 4 for me. I think Tottenham 4 because they didn't get Madison. To be fair, I think that's the big decider for Tottenham. But no, in all seriousness, I just think both teams have done such good business. I think Arsenal, Tottenham, probably the top 2 or 3 in terms of the winners of the window so far. Both strengthen where they need to strengthen. And I don't actually think, I think this is the one area of the table where I don't think it'll be that close between 4th and 5th. I just think Chelsea, when things start to go wrong for Tuchel, we've seen it at Dortmund, we've seen it at PSG, things really, really do start to unravel and he doesn't really get it going again. I think it's all about the first. He's a bit like Conte in the sense that it's all about those first couple of years and getting all the trophies in the bag then, or even Mourinho to an extent. But you've seen it at previous clubs. I think you've seen it in pre-season. He's been quite vocal, Tuchel, in terms of criticism. It's a new owner as well in place. It wouldn't surprise me if things really go wrong at Chelsea a little bit. And yeah, I think having watched that Arsenal-Chelsea game in pre-season, the gap between the two teams, I know it's only a pre-season friendly, but was absolutely enormous. Chelsea got away, I think it was 4-0, I think it was in the end. Chelsea got away with 4, to be totally honest with you. They got battered in that game.
Yeah. I was quite surprised, actually. I didn't think everyone would have, apart from Locks, but I mean, near enough a clean sweep. Quite surprised. So, yeah. Let's make up the rest of the European spots now then. So we've got 5th, 6th and 7th, right? 7th Europa Conference League, right? Who wants... I'll tell you what, Kendall, you can start us off this time.
I think it's like the way we spoke, I think it's pretty much nailed on now. So I've gone Chelsea, Man United and West Ham. For my next 3, I can't see any. So below like West Ham, for example, like there'll be like talks of us, there'll be talks of Villa, there'll be talks of Leicester, and I just can't see any of us at this point being better than West Ham to get that last European spot. I just can't see it. I might even like West Ham might even have a better season than Man United this season. I just don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, if I was gonna just go with the flow and go common knowledge, I think it'll be Chelsea, Man United, and West Ham.
Has everyone got that?
Yeah, in that exact order as well.
Same as well. Apart from Locks, so we'll like it's an easy one. Yeah, go on, Locks. Who have you got? Don't say you've got Leicester. Come on now.
No, I've gone obviously I've gone Arsenal in 5th, and then 6th I've got Aston Villa, and then Manchester United in 7th.
I died when he said Aston Villa. All of our faces is like.
I don't know about that.
I know. It's a bold call. I don't know, mate. I honestly don't know. I just think, obviously, Diego Carlos and is it Kamara as well? I think they're good signings. Obviously, they brought in a couple of players last year with the Grealish money, and obviously, I don't know. They didn't seem to click. So if they can get going, and obviously Coutinho as well. I think they could, be the surprise package. So obviously we'll get onto that. But yeah, I think I've got them in 6th, and then Man United behind them. Sorry, West Ham. It's obviously tough one with West Ham. I think they'll be close there as well. But yeah.
Have you got you right to reply, Corey? What do you
thank you so much for taking pity on us and putting Villa above us when they've struggled for like 2 years. Now look, I don't really get the Villa shout, but. Yeah, I think West Ham 7th's a a fair shout for where we're at now. I think there's part of me that thinks if we could sign 2 or 3 more players that we can at least push 5th and 6th, not guaranteed at all, but at least be competitive with that. But I think what people are saying, I had Chelsea 5th, Man United 6th even, and yeah, it would be a poor season, I guess, for Manchester United with all the money they spent over the years and maybe the hype that's with Ten Hag. But I just think they're far behind, and making up that gap is quite substantial.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I was watching something and someone said that was Man United's worst ever Premier League points return, and they still got 6th. So that's why I was like, maybe they will, like, I don't know if it's the worst, but it's one of their worst ever finishes, and they still got 6th. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, surely they're not going to get worse than that when they've improved the manager and we can all see it's improving. So I don't know. I think they'll do all right, as much as that pains me on Man United.
They could do well in the Europa League, you know. Ten Hag could definitely get them to the final and maybe win it, which would be a good season if it could get them back into the Champions League. I don't think Manchester United business has been that bad. It's been a little bit perhaps underwhelming, because I think everyone thought he would go in there, rip it out, and then build it back up. But I think they've been in talks with the centre forward. I think if they could get the centre forward over the line and Ronaldo out the door, because it doesn't seem like that's a happy place, then maybe Manchester United look different. That's what I mean. They're always on that kind of line where you're a bit like, if you've got a good coach and you've got top quality players, then it all might bang. So, but I think 6 is fair for where they're at. Yeah.
No, I think that's fair. Right, okay, what was our next topic? Let me just check. So, relegation. This should be interesting. I'll start us off Leicester. No, I'm joking. Lux, you start us off, Lux.
Fulham and Bournemouth, and I've actually gone Leeds.
Are you taking the piss?
No, I've gone Leeds.
Sorry. Explain.
Joe, you've allowed Locke to stay on for like 10 seconds after saying you've still not chucked it off. Do you know
why though, Oscar, right? And I said this earlier.
No, I can accept it.
I keep hearing it from people outside of Leeds, and their reasoning is, and I assume this will be Locke's reasoning, is they've lost their 2 best players. I understand it, but Calvin actually didn't suit the system, and then the Rocker and Adams works better than what Calvin does. Like for me, in this system. And of course, Rafinha, massive loss, etc. So I understand why people have got us down there, but the business we've done, I think, has been good and it suits. I'm just not sold on Marsh, but you know, that's for another day. But go on.
I think you've done decent business, but I just don't think you're not stronger than last year. I don't think, and obviously it was close last year. I'm not, I've got you at 18th. I've not got you, 19th or 20th. I think it will be close again, but I think Jesse Marsh will probably go at some point in the season, and then it just depends who you get in. If that man comes in and gets enough points, but yeah, just don't think you'll have enough this year. But I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, of course you do.
I will just put that point out there. My prediction for Leeds isn't that much higher than 18th, to be fair.
Yeah, but you haven't got us going down, have you?
No.
Go on then, Oscar. Give us yours.
20 Fulham, 19 Bournemouth, 18 Southampton for me. I think Fulham for me, I'm not convinced Mitrovic steps up to this league. I know, obviously, last season, what did he get? 44 goals, I think, last season. I just think it's not Mitrovic. I still don't think it's Mitrovic is the problem. It's the players around him. He doesn't get the creativity or the chances in the Premier League. I think that's always been the problem for Mitrovic. I think he is a Premier League level striker. I think he's better than the Championship. But I don't know. I'm just not convinced of it. Pereira from Man United, I think they brought in to replace Carvalho. Not convinced on that one. In terms of Harry Wilson, can Harry Wilson step up to the Premier League? He'd probably do a decent job, but I just think the league is of such high quality now. I think you need more. I think they need to do more in the business. Paulinho, really nice signing in midfield, but again, I just think at the back there's still question marks. Marco Silva in the Premier League isn't fully proven. He did okay with Hull. Watford, he was hit and miss. Everton, it just didn't work out at all. I don't know. I don't think he's pragmatic enough for a team like Fulham. I think Fulham just needs to be pragmatic and not be playing trying to play out the back against Liverpool or Man City. I just think they're going to play into too many good teams' hands. But I might be totally wrong on that. Bournemouth, again, have not done enough business. I suppose Scott Parker has got some Premier League experience in there. I think Solanke might do better than what people expect in the Premier League. I think he might do okay. But again, is there enough quality or goals in that team outside of that? Lewis Cook, I think, will prove his worth in the Premier League this season. But yeah, for me, it's still lacking a lot of quality in that starting 11. And Southampton, to be fair, I felt since the back end of last season, Southampton have got a bit of a problem. I think they lost the last 4 games of last season and almost got dragged into it, really. And yeah, I think obviously losing Broja hasn't re-signed. I think someone else has left, just off the top of my head, someone else has left. I can't think who it is now. But yeah, they've lost some big players. And I think, of course, signings, I'm not sure. I don't think they've ever truly replaced Danny Ings. I think Hasenhüttl, there's question marks on. Defensively, I think there's big problems there as well. But yeah, it's one of them. Southampton for me.
No worries, bro. No worries.
All right. I was just trying to think. Have I remembered all these signings right? But yeah, I was trying to remember players' names and that. Like,
are you on about this one? I've seen it coming in.
I was looking down at the notes. All right, I was looking right. Fulham, South Paulinia. Good signing. It says on there.
I love that. Kendall, who you've got?
Yeah, sorry, unmute yourself. I've got exactly the same as Oscar. I've got Bournemouth, Fulham, and Southampton as well. I watched Southampton last season, wasn't impressed at all. I think they didn't play well throughout the whole season. And their new home kit is absolutely vile, so I'd rather just not say that again. At least as possible. So yeah, I've got Southampton. I think there's a lot of other teams that could get dragged in there. I think Everton haven't done very good business at all, and they've lost a couple of decent players. And Brentford, I know Brentford seem to be okay, so I don't see them getting relegated, but I still think they won't have a really good season or anything like that, top 10 or anything like that. So yeah, but I've gone exactly the same as Oscar. Bournemouth, Fulham, and Southampton.
Nice. Corey?
I'm not sure I can add too much to this conversation, but it's basically Bournemouth, Fulham, and Southampton. I just think recruitment-wise, Bournemouth definitely haven't done enough. I find it a really odd setup. I appreciate they're not a massive club, and maybe in terms of stability, it doesn't work for them to come up and spend X amount of money. But at the same time, it doesn't look like they're going to be too competitive. Marco Silva, I just really, as a manager, I wouldn't trust him to keep him in the league. And I know he sort of flirted with it, and he did all right at Hull, and he did all right at Everton, albeit Hull got relegated. I just don't think he's going to be there for more than 3-4 months. I just think it always goes down the pan. And Southampton feels a little bit like writings on the wall. Again, same with recruitment. They brought Joe Arabo in from Rangers, which is a good signing, actually, generally speaking. But other than that, I just feel that the quality of the league this year is going to be too much for them. And I think Southampton have got that horrible habit of, yes, they have little runs of form where they look okay and you think Hasenhüttl was a really good coach, and then at the same time, they'll go and not pick up a win in 10, and it'll be quite a weird situation. So I think they'll slide down this season, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, I never get the hype around him, man. You know my.
Ever since he cried, it's really.
No, it's not even that, bro. They, like you said, they won 9 games on the bounce, yeah, whatever it is, and everyone's talking about, could he be next Man United manager? And then they go and lose 11. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, is he going to be sacked? I just don't get the hype around him at all.
Their signings have been all young, really young as well, 23-year-old, 20-year-old. They had to replace Fraser Forster, so they signed a Man City under 23 goalkeeper, things like that. They haven't signed players. I think Joe Rebo's a really good sign. I've watched Joe Rebo for a long time since he was at Charlton. But other than that, I think they haven't signed anyone of note, if that makes sense. So I just can't see them having a good season at all.
No, I agree. And in terms of, I think for me, Bournemouth and Fulham are already gone. I'll say it now with chest. I think they're gone. I think Bournemouth, Ryan Fredericks and Tavernier from Middlesbrough, that's it.
Fredericks is already injured, so.
Oh, is he gone? Oh, well, there you go then. So that's even worse, isn't it? I think Bournemouth are gone for me. And I don't know if they're trying that Norwich kind of vibe of being the top, 26 clubs or something like that. I think Bournemouth and Fulham are gone. And I've put Brentford in there just because I really, really dislike them. More a case of hope. Look, they probably will have signed a few gems. I think if they get Damsgaard, I really, really like Damsgaard. The fee that's been touted about's crazy. I'd be all over it. I think maybe he didn't play much last season. I'm not too sure on that, but I know he's a top talent. So if he can come in and do a job, then maybe they will go okay. But I think as Leeds showed last season, as Sheffield United the season before, Villa the season before that, the second season, it's so tough. It's so tough. I didn't believe in it until it happened to us. So I think Brentford will struggle this season. And Ben Mee, I don't know. Like Ben Mee, on the face of it, looks all right. I just don't know. He's just been relegated. I mean, who will he replace? Will it be Janssen? I don't know. I don't get it.
Maybe we're not talking about Everton enough. Like I know it was brought up a little bit, but even though I kind of feel like it's been skewed, because if you actually just break down the business of it, Tarkowski is a good signing. Garner Gate is a decent re-signing in terms of the midfield in an area that they do need. But Calvert-Lewin's injury problems are a big problem. I look at them in terms of centre forward. There just isn't the options there. And that really, we said about this a couple of weeks ago, they're relying on Anthony Gordon really to come up with a moment in a game. And I don't think Lampard's the guy that's going to... I mean, I know he did it towards the end of last season.
Do you not think, though, Corey, the reason that I've not picked him, though, is because he gets sacked? Do you see what I'm saying? He gets sacked, someone else comes in.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think even as poor as Everton are, I still think they're in a better position than a Bournemouth and a Fulham, because I think the players are of a better quality. But I know what you're saying. It could be inevitable, and probably will be inevitable, because Everton are such a big club that Lampard goes within 3-4 months if it's going down the pan. But they will probably be quite close. They have to sort the centre forward out. Really
I think the squad's looking all right at Everton in terms of starting 11. I think getting an injury, they're in trouble. Like Calvert-Lewin, obviously, that's one area they're going to lack a few goals. But I think Vinagre is a really good signing. Idrissa Gueye, to be fair, I can't really believe they've been able to sign him, to be honest, because I think in terms of what he was doing at PSG, he wasn't an outstanding player at PSG, but to go from PSG to then dropping down to a team who's probably going to be in the relegation battle, or at the very best in mid-table, just seems one heck of a drop, really. But I think it's decent business in terms of how I think our Leeds is still better. I think there's a lot of clubs who have still done better business, but I just think they've just about got enough, Everton. And yeah, the Lampard factor as well. Lampard getting sacked and someone coming in for like the second bit of the season has got to be in the thinking as well.
Yeah, I think so. I can't believe Locke's has gone for Leeds, but there you go. I think there's a lot of people though going for Leeds, to be fair, and I think a lot of it is because we've got an American coach, Locke's. So that's why I'm gonna say you're against the Americans, bro. That's why you're doing it. Right, let's do top goal scorer. It's getting juicy now. It won't be as easy. Well, it probably will be easy. Top goal scorer, to be fair. I don't know. Corey, you start us off, and I want to know how many, mate. I want to know how many goals they're going to get as well.
Oh, this is actually really tough because there's some serious goal scorers now.
Yeah.
I am just going to pick for Mo Salah, and I think he's going to get like 21, I think. I don't know. The only reason I say this is because every single season it's always... Salah won't score that many goals he did last year. And he's been doing it for like 4 or 5 seasons now. And it always starts off. You mentioned about the World Cup. If he stays fresh, he's not going away. Again, he can hit the ground running. I don't know. I just feel that he pips it. But I think it's going to be really tight. I think there's 4 or 5 players there that are in and around.
Who would you put in there?
I think Núñez is in there just because of chance creation. I think Liverpool create so many chances that even if he does miss 1 or 2, he still will have the opportunity. Haaland's a given because of how, again, City create chances as nominate games. Son, I think you've got to consider after last season. I think Tottenham, when you're talking about Son and Kane, I think both of those will be very close in terms of those numbers. The only reason that Kane's probably not closer is because of the injuries and just the change in style and probably being more of a 10. And I think you look at Richarlison coming in, you're looking at players to get him beyond a bit more. Maybe Kane's role isn't that goal scorer, albeit he can score goals. So I think all of those players. And Skamaka, obviously, will be on about 15, I reckon.
Yeah. I love that. Kendall, Chris Wood?
I'd kind of rather them just not, because then that means it's not there, you know what I mean? Don't want to really talk about Chris Wood too much. But yeah, I haven't gone the same as Corey. I've lied. I have gone Harry Kane as my top scorer, and I said 21 goals. I think exactly the same as him, though, that they will all be up there. It'll be Salah, Son, Haaland, Nunes, Harry Kane. I think it'll be all of the above. So yeah, that's who I've gone.
Nice. Harry Kane. We've got Salah.
Sorry, someone's saying Callum Wilson in the comments. Please, if you can stay fit for the season, right? I can see 20 goals. I genuinely can, right? If he stays fit, but that is literally about 10% likely. So yeah, that's not going to happen. Sorry.
To be honest, if Leicester were in better fettle, I know for a fact locks with chest would say Jamie Vardy, but I don't think he will this time around. So, who have you gone for, locks?
Yeah, I've gone with Haaland. I think it's going to be close. I think Salah and Nunes will, obviously share the top three. I'd probably say, second and third, but I'm going to go with Haaland just to pip it with 24. I'll say
24, nice. Oscar?
Haaland, I think. I think he'll just play enough. I think he'll be basically one in one throughout the season. I think his ratio will be absolutely insane. And he might even get 30 goals. If he does stay fit, I can genuinely see him getting 30 goals. But the reason is, I just look at Grealish will probably play more games this season. Foden, Mahrez. There's not really many natural goal scorers in that City team outside of Haaland and Alvarez. And I don't think Haaland and Alvarez will be on the pitch that often together that much. So I think it'll just be a case of the whole team, almost a little bit like how previous Pep teams have worked with Lewandowski, Aguero, Messi, just all built around that one focal point in terms of to get the goals, because there's just so much creativity there. So I think Haaland, but it's going to be pretty close. I think it's going to be pretty close. I think Salah's got to be up there, Kane's got to be up there, and just a bit of an outsider. I think Jesus is a decent. I think he's been playing a lot of football. You look at his goals to game ratio at City. You think he's going to play a lot more at Arsenal than what he did at City, but I still just think Haaland's got that little bit more service, that bit. Well, he's a better finisher than Jesus. Haaland for me.
Yeah, I've gone Salah. I went for Salah. I said 25. Why not? Salah, I think, it's a lot of goals, Corey. I've seen you blowing out each thing, but I don't know.
No, but it's weird though, isn't it? Because like if we were talking, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, you would be looking at your 25s and 30s.
Yeah.
Like last season, it felt very much like kind of late teens, early 20s. Like so many teams scoring so many goals. It's like
I think Salah and Son got 23 each, didn't they? I think so. I just stuck to one. It was 2 goals. He'll probably get 4 against Fulham on the weekend, won't he? So you know what I mean. That'll be a good start. Yeah, he's already captain. So, I am really taking it serious this year. By the way, FPL. I've been listening to podcasts, watching videos. Like I've gone in. So if I don't do well,
I've done my team and not looked at it again.
Oh really?
I did it on Sunday, and I was like, right, I'm not going to look at it again, because if I continue to look at it, I'm going to be swapping him out, and then he's going to get triple points this week. But I just was like, right, just leave it. I'm just going to do it and just leave it and crack on.
Do you know what, though? One of the tips, I listened to 10 tips on FBL on the Athletic podcast, and one of them was stay away from your team until 2 days before, because you'll change that many players that someone you took out will do well, and you'll go...
Yeah, 100%. That's why I've left it.
You know what I mean? So I have tinkered far too much. I can't lie to you, I have, but I'm happy with what
you've got Excel spreadsheets going and everything, haven't you?
The guy said he built a captain's matrix, like a spreadsheet of who's going to be his I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, wow, that's really... I haven't done that. Trust me, I haven't done that. But I will listen to that podcast regularly. It was really boring, but it was really, really insightful. It was really boring, genuinely. Right, where were we up to? Salah, 25 goals, right. Salah or Haaland, I think, was the picks, apart from someone gave us... No, that was it, wasn't it?
I think
the only reason, I think Nunes might be a decent shout, but I think he's going to rotate quite a bit with Jota. I don't think he'll play every game. I think Klopp might rotate that front three around quite a bit, to be fair. Salah will probably play every game, but Nunes, Diaz, Jota, I think are going to move around a bit. And then obviously Firmino, Carvalho, they're going to all play quite a lot of games each.
Yeah, for sure. Right, let's talk flop of the season. I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm going to kick us off. It's a little bit of get your own back here, and we'll start with club. And I have gone for Leicester City. Just because, right? And this is no cap. Like I had put that right. I just think with what's going on at the minute, they've done no business at all, which I think is a madness. Players won't gone. Kasper Schmeichel's gone. Fofana, like Locks is convinced they won't go, but I could see Fofana leaving on a deadline.
He won't go for less than 80 million.
Okay, that's fine.
That's gone down 10 mil since Tuesday. That's county on Tuesday.
90 million euros.
So I just think
I'd like Barcelona, Locks.
I just think because Leicester are supposed to be vying for Europe, I don't think they'll get anywhere close.
Yeah, it can't be a flop this year though, because everyone's expecting us to be shocking, aren't they? Everyone's expecting.
Not really, though. I wouldn't. I'm talking like I think you will be bottom half, bro. I think like that's the way I see it. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I just don't think things are right in the camp. And if you were to say to Leicester City, yeah, they're the flop. You're making me change my mind. That is my pick, Locks. All right, you have to like it or lump it, brother. I think Leicester won Premier League titles, won FA Cup, great side, but it seems to be going on the slide. Obviously, we talk about the Leicester model. Maybe the players that you brought in the most recent cycle, your Samaris, your Dakas, hasn't really worked. You're not getting the investment. Some of the players won't gone. Look, James Maddison, great player, but I think he's flirting elsewhere. He'd go in a heartbeat if the money was met. He'd go to Newcastle, he'd go to Arsenal or whoever came sniffing. I don't think he wants to be at Leicester personally. You'll know more than me. Fofana would be a huge loss as well. No Schmeichel, he's Danny Ward, the one. I'm not sure. So I'm going to say Leicester. Go on, mate. I'll give you the right to reply if you want.
I mean, you haven't said much wrong, to be fair. I think Fofana is a weird one. A lot of Rodgers came out like five days ago, saying, you know, he's happy at the club for now. Obviously, we expect him to stay this summer, and Rodgers even said, you know, next summer and beyond that, then we would expect him to go for big money. And yeah, we all thought Fofana was happy, and then he just had a weird turn on Tuesday night or whenever it was. He started removing, you know, it's all like kid, you know, like teenager behavior. But he started removing Leicester from the bios on social media, and he put a weird quote up. There's some French quote which translated to, you know, when you do something that's right for you, you're gonna piss a lot of people off, and so that was. So, and then like his mate, his friend or something from France posted like a Photoshop of him in a Chelsea shirt, and he liked it. So it's really weird how it like all moved around. But then he's liking other stuff online, like people. He liked something from a Leicester fan saying, you know, Fofana won't join Chelsea and all this, and we don't know what's going on, mate. It's a weird one. I've said all along, like 80-90 million, then you've got to accept that. Like a club, you know, like we did with Maguire. We didn't want to lose Maguire, but 80 million, you can't say no to that. So Maddison's the more sense. I think it will be, I don't know. I don't see him going Newcastle. I really don't. And I think, you know, I gave Matt a bit of, you know, stick about him, you know, Spurs. He's a lot more likely to go to Spurs than he would to Newcastle. I think I'm not dissing Newcastle. I'm just saying right now I don't think it's the move for him. I think, you know, next year if Newcastle are, you know, a lot higher up the table, then fair enough. But I just can't see him going there. But if they offer enough money and Leicester want to accept it, then, you know, fair enough. But I just don't see anyone paying the valuation. I think we're looking at like 55, 60. 65, so you know, between 55 and
how
65.
long has he got left on his contract? Look,
so Maddison's got three years
right.
left, I think. Fofana's got 5 because he signed a contract 4 months ago. So yeah, he's got 3 years left on his deal, so it's not as bad as a situation as we have, you know, with like Tielemans, for example. That's a really sticky situation at the minute. So but yeah, I can't really disagree with you know, majority of the stuff he said. I think I'd agree with you. I'm not classing them as a flop because I'm expecting us to be you know, low down anyway. So I've got someone else, but yeah, I'm probably thinking 15th to 10th for us this year, if I'm honest.
If you finish 15th, that's a big flop for me, no?
Well, for you, yeah, not for me because I'm expecting it. You see what I mean? You see what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So, if we're like,
if Leicester finish 15th, that's shocking for me.
Yeah.
I can't see it. I don't think we'll be as low, as low as that. I think we'll probably be more 10th and 10th, 11th, something like that. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. It would be a flop, I suppose. But I'm expecting the worst. To be honest with you, mate, I'm expecting the worst.
Okay, should we do clubs and then go back around with player, or shall I just say, yeah, we'll do that. Okay, go on then, Locks. You give us your flop, bro.
I've gone Man United, mate. I think some people expect them to do a bit better this year than last year under Ten Hag, but yeah, I can't see it. So I'm going with Manchester United.
First.
Not a story this year.
Oh, do you remember that? Oh my god! Yeah, wow. It'd be a story if Man United won the title, wouldn't it? Oh my god! After they bought Varane and Ronaldo, what a story! Kendall, who's your flop?
Everton.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone knows what I feel about Everton. It's more like I do think it's going to happen, and I hope it does happen. So yeah, Everton all day long. I just think everyone's like, oh, Frankie Lampard, Frankie Lampard's big. Lampard's going to do so well, and all the fans like. Let me on, I don't even have overlap. If you haven't watched it, like Baz, I love Baz. To be fair, Everton fan, I absolutely adore him. I think he's an unbelievable bloke. But he was like, we're all behind him. Everyone loves Frank Lampard. He loves the club. Like I'm like really like. I don't think Frank Lampard's a good coach. I'm not a good coach, but I don't think he's a good football manager, in my opinion. So, yeah, hopefully Everton.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure loads of Everton fans think that about us and they want us to fail. I understand that. But, yeah.
What
Everton.
do you call them? The Scouse Mackhams?
Scouse Mackhams, yeah. Scouse Mackhams, because that's literally what they are, though. Like that, they just love Sunderland because they're like the second fiddle in the city. That's why they love Sunderland. So you just go and be a Scouse Mackham. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, hopefully not anywhere near us. And they did get. I'm sure their preseason wasn't great, and they got beat like. I'm sure it's like by a big margin by like an American team. So, yeah. That's why I put Everton.
Like, if you haven't, I would implore you to watch the Lampard post-match interview for that pre-season game. It is absolute gold. Like, he's already digging out players and everything. It's like it's pre-season. What's going on?
Exactly.
Yeah. He's mad. He's like, they need to take a look at themselves. I was like, it's pre-season. You're supposed to be getting to know everyone happy and that. And he's going, yeah, they're a joke. Oscar, give us your flop, mate.
Depend. I'll probably
bit of an innuendo, that one.
Yeah. Get demonetised for that, mate.
I know, sorry.
Probably Chelsea for me, actually. I just don't have good vibes about Chelsea. I was going to say Wolves, but we play Wolves on Saturday, and that's a really dodgy territory. But I think Wolves might finish lower than last season purely because. I don't know, the momentum's not with them now. I think obviously the way they finished last season, the fact they haven't brought in back up to Jimenez is a problem too. But Chelsea's the bigger story, I think, in terms of obviously what the signings have been able to make. Even with Fofana there, I don't think they'll concede a lot of goals, but I just think going forward, is Havertz the question long-term centre forward? Do they need a natural centre forward in there? Should they have got a Lukaku replacement? Yes, they should have done for me. I just think for Chelsea, it's going to be a really, really poor start to the season, I think. So, Chelsea.
Fair. That's nice. Corey?
I agree. I've heard everyone. I think Chelsea. I think just purely because I think the gap between where they were at the start of last season to where they could be by the end of this season is quite substantial. And even if it isn't in terms of places, and let's just say it would be hugely disappointing for them to drop out of the Champions League, but if you're going from a team that was supposed to be competing for the title to that within the space of a year, then that would be a problem. And I think Chelsea are in such a period in their history where they do need to keep that level. I don't think they can afford to necessarily drop behind the pack and then really have to build again. So, I would say Chelsea. There's just not enough. There just aren't really enough signs for me to feel that they are going to push forward. It could change if they signed a Frankie de Jong. Then maybe I think, okay, fine. Well, if it's fourth and it's a poor season, they'll be all right. And they've obviously always got potential to go and win a trophy, but I've just got a feeling. I just really got a feeling, particularly from this pre-season.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's go back round and do the player. Corey, you start us off, mate.
I actually don't. I don't try to think. Like, I don't know.
We can pass if you want.
No, go around. Go around. Give me some thinking time. I can find a good one, I think.
Okay, Oscar.
Richarlison for me. Not that I don't think the rest of Tottenham signings have been good and he's necessarily bad. I just don't see where he starts for Tottenham. I think Kulusevski's a better winger. I think Son's a better winger. And I think Kane's a better centre forward. And just purely for the price they paid, 60 million is a lot, I think, still for where Tottenham are at this moment in time to be spending on a backup in those kind of positions. I just don't think, when you look at where he was for Everton, I think he scored like 40% or was involved in 40% of Everton's goals last season. I just don't see him being that kind of influential for Tottenham. It's one of those signings where I think they probably could have got someone else cheaper as a backup and then spent, another 20, 30 million elsewhere. But yeah, for me, Richarlison.
Fair one. Kendall?
Yeah, Richarlison was mine as well. I just think he's that huffy and that moody. Like, he's not going to be happy just sitting on the bench every week. 1 second. Oh, kids, man. Anyways, yeah, I just think he's not going to be happy sitting on the bench because I cannot see him he's not going to get another Son, he's not going to get another Kane, he's not going to get another Kulusevski at this point in time. I mean, even in terms of like if they want to play him maybe he's deeper as a wing back, I can't even see that happening. I mean, they've got Perisic there anyway, so that's not going to happen. I can't see, unless it's going to be a cup game or if they maybe get a decent Champions League group. I just can't see him getting that much game time this season. He's not going to be happy about it. So, yeah, it'll be Richarlison for me as well. I just don't think... He's obviously been such a stalwart at Everton. He's been the main man and he's scored so many of their goals. It's going to be like a big drop-off this season for him. So, yeah, Richarlison was mine as well.
Fair one. Locks?
Yeah, I agree with everyone. Richarlison I'm going to go for. I couldn't think of anyone else.
Okay. Well, I went for Jesse Lingard.
Oh, that's who I was going to bring up. I thought, I've had a few little scoutings through the transfer signings. The business this summer has been very, very good, so it's very hard to find where you're looking at someone thinking, I'm not sure they'll perform, but Lingard's on a knife edge, really. Either he absolutely bangs and he keeps him in the league and it's completely worth the money that they spent for him, or it's absolutely terrible and he does poorly and Nottingham Forest don't look like they've progressed. So I think Lingard is probably the best shout.
I've just gone for Lingard just because I guess he's their marquee name. I do think Forest will stay up. I just don't see him having the effect, I guess, that they expect. And I'm still pissed that and I'm not even a West Ham fan, but I'm just pissed over the whole, I don't get it. It's just pure mercenary mercenary job, man. 1 year, big money, and then he gets another signing on fee for whichever club he decides to turn out for next. I think it'll be a bit of a flop. We'll see, though. We'll see. I guess it's more hope than not, but we will see. Right, okay. So we've got now a surprise package then. Surprise package of the season. I'll start us off. I've gone for Joffrey. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Leeds United altogether, but they are certainly sleeping on Joffrey. He don't get mentioned anywhere. He's a clutch player. I think whenever he's called upon, he comes up clutch. Every single time last season in big moments. He got the assist for Pascal Strauss, equaliser against Brighton. He got he scored against Norwich. Like, if he's not playing, we don't stay in the division. I think he'll play a bigger role this season. So I think people will really stand up and see him for what he is. And as for the club, I've gone for Man United, just because I think they will go really, really well. I know it's not a surprise really for them to do that, but I think we're going to see a totally different Manchester United this season. And I think they'll impress, and I think they'll beat Brighton, and I think they'll do well. As much as that pains me to say it, but I think... Is it a surprise package? I don't know. Yeah, I think it is, because I almost had them in top 4 at one point before I thought, they probably won't do that much. But I think they'll go really well. So they're my 2 picks. Oscar?
In terms of player, again, I'm not sure I think, right, I'll go with my first one, Fabio Carvalho at Liverpool. I just really, really like the signing. I think he is a lot like Felipe Coutinho. I think the biggest problem for Liverpool, and part of the reason I think they'll win the league, is their big problem has been a lack of creativity within the midfield three. When you look at what City have got with Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. Now, listen, I don't think Fabio Carvalho will be at that level, but he's going to improve them in that regard. I think he can play in midfield, he can play in the front three. I think he will. He's not a player every game, but I think he will surprise people in terms of how much football he does play. But in terms of the other person I was thinking, and again, it's another Liverpool player, but someone who doesn't really get much mention is Konate at centre-back. I just think he's absolutely phenomenally good. I think he will become their number one centre-back. But he just seems a bit too obvious to me. He doesn't seem like a real surprise package, so I'll still go Carvalho, but Konate will be, for me, considered the second or third best centre-back in the league after Van Dijk.
Nice. And what about the club?
Club, Newcastle for me. I just think in terms of the midfield and looking at the balance in that midfield is looking really good. Joe Linton's like a new player, really. I think he's been
like a new signing. That cliche is like a new signing.
Honestly, I mean, to be fair to Eddie Howe, he's really spotted the strength of Joe Linton and Guimaraes as well. What a player he is, and in terms of after the World Cup, you might see some of the other top six clubs looking at Guimaraes, or even like a Barcelona, Real Madrid looking at Guimaraes. I think he's that good, and if Brazil have a good World Cup, that could be a shout. But I think defensively they look so strong. Trippier, Botman, Target. I think they just strengthen that line so much. Nick Pope's shot stopping as well. He's probably not going to have as much to do at as what he had at Burnley, but he's still going to make a massive difference. Some of those tight games. And I think with Newcastle going forwards, yes, in terms of Saint-Maximin, Wilson, I think when they play, they'll be a really, really formidable duo. And ultimately, it was the duo that kept Leeds United in the league, if we're being totally honest. So maybe that's part of it as well. But they have got injury problems. Sometimes Saint-Maximin can drop in and out of form from time to time. But I think defensively, they're so strong, they can see out games 1-0. They can win the game on a set piece or a moment of magic from one of the midfielders. I just think they're going to possibly push West Ham for that 7th spot, and I'd be shocked if Newcastle don't improve. Genuinely shocked if Newcastle don't improve on their position last season, purely for the fact that if they don't, I think the Newcastle board will be ruthless and will move Eddie Howe on and get someone else in. But I think Eddie Howe's a good fit for the next couple of years, so I think they'll finish at least top 8, Newcastle.
Wow, there you go. Almost at Europe. Right, okay. Corey, come on.
I've got a few names. I think the one that probably stands out for me as a surprise is Nick Pope for 10 mil. I think it's a steal, and I think he'll be one at the end of the season where we go, he's got him for £10 million, and he's kept them in games, and I've seen him firsthand pull off world-class saves. So I think that's a really good signing. I like Brendan Aronson, I've got to be honest, and I think I'm not sure what your season will look like, but I feel like he could be one of the players that still stands out within the team, and that a lot of other teams will be looking at thinking, maybe why didn't we do that? The one that's obviously, from my point of view, a little bit sad is Aged, and I think Aged had real potential to come into the season and look like a real, again, possession-based centre-back that's good in the air, that's very complete in terms of the Premier League. So hopefully we see that at the second half after the World Cup, but he would have been my pick, but I'm going to go Nick Pope, I think, just for the money and possibly the impact as well.
Great shout. Kendall?
In terms of surprise package, I kind of like, obviously the next category is player I watch, so I think it's kind of like both hand in hand a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've gone Alvarez for both because I think, as I say, I've just like joined them two together. Every single person around him, player, manager, people who know him, people who watch him, say he is literally top class, and he is so young. And I did watch him, obviously when he came on for Man City and in the Community Shield, and he already looked like he just slotted in straight away, which is like something that you don't get that a lot. Obviously, South American players, things like that, have a relatively decent standing in the Premier League, but I think he's going to be unbelievable. I think he's going to be really good. And my other one, I have actually gone for Almiron. Obviously, the whole Jack Grealish thing at the end of last season wasn't great. When, if anyone doesn't know, Jack Grealish said that Mahrez was playing like Almiron, which obviously wasn't a good thing. And since that point, he's took himself away. He's done extra training on his own. I don't think obviously because of that, but he's done extra training on his own. He wasn't like a regular feature. It was Ryan Fraser because obviously the bond that Eddie Howe has with Ryan Fraser. So he kind of just got a step up over Almiron, but he's looked so good in pre-season. I literally I've not seen him like that, like ever. So it's a big shock to me to see him like that. We've played some decent opposition in pre-season as well. We played, obviously, as I said earlier, Atalanta, we played Athletic Club, and we played Mainz from Germany, and who else did we play? Oh, Benfica as well. So, we only lost to Benfica 3-2, and it was like in the dying minutes of the game. So for me, he's got to have a good season this season. This is kind of it's his 4th year here now, so he's really got to step up, and he looks like he's doing it. So, yeah.
Nice. I like that. Club?
Club surprise package, Crystal Palace for me. I think it's the team that's gone under the radar. They haven't done massive amounts of business, but they played some unreal football last season. I was watching them at times. I was like, oh God, like they play such good football. I think Vieira's a really good manager. In terms of a coach as well, they've got some unreal players. They've obviously were missing like Eze last season for most of the season anyway. And I think he's an unbelievable player. So yeah, I think they will have a pretty good season, Crystal Palace. And if they don't have a good season, they'll at least play some good football doing it. So yeah, Crystal Palace for me.
Nice, like that. Locks?
For player, I've gone Brennan Johnson. Yeah, not great for me, obviously, as a Leicester fan. But every time I see him play, man, he just excites me. I think he's a quality player. 18 goals and 10 assists or something in the Championship last season. So I just think he's a baller, mate. I think if he has a good year at Forest, he'll be at a big, a top club the following year. To be honest with you, so yeah. And then I've gone with. I couldn't decide. Obviously, I said Villa for 6th earlier on. So obviously, I suppose I've got to say them now. But Forest again, like when you bring in that many players, it can go one or two ways. Obviously, it could cause a bit, cause some issues in the dressing room and stuff. But I think it will go the other way. I think they'll have a good season. I noticed no one tips them for relegation. So yeah, I'm probably thinking somewhere around like 13th or something like that, 14th for them, which I think's a great season for them. So yeah, Brennan Johnson and Forest, I'm going to say.
Nice, some good picks there. Some good picks. We've got one to watch. Now it is very similar. I had this yesterday with the Leeds United thing as well. I did, to be fair, because people were saying it's the same thing. But I did go for Alvarez on this one, just because heard an awful lot about him without actually seeing it. Everyone's saying, oh, that, apparently his class, a bit like what Kendall was saying, and then he really, really injected something into the Community Shield for City, and I just thought at that point, right, this kid's he's gonna go this season. I did almost pick Eze as well, just because I'm a massive fan of Eze's and knowing how it went, and then I considered Michael Elise as well, because these young ones at Palace are class. I like to see players come up from the Championship, be given an opportunity. We've seen it with Bowen, for example, at West Ham. There's some real talent there that maybe in previous years doesn't get picked up. But I don't know. I just think Elise are both ballers, and if they can stay fit for a consistent period of time for Palace, they will do really well. But I have gone for Alvarez just because he looks different gravy, and I think he's gone massively under the radar because of the Haaland stuff, and I think he could. Yeah, be standout. Oscar, who do you want to watch?
Williams for me from Arsenal. I think in terms of pre-season, certainly at Chelsea game I saw, he was just unreal. He's playing out of position as well at right back, and I'll be honest, I think he's better than Ben White and Gabriel. I think he's Arsenal's best centre back, and I think he will force his way into the team. The reason I think Arsenal have such a good season is I think he gives them that fight. You saw that game Kendall mentioned about Newcastle away, where Arsenal just absolutely lost their heads, within 20 minutes of that game. The Tottenham away game, I think he's that leader at the back that Arsenal needed for a long, long time, and I think he will be really good. But someone else in Arsenal's back line who I think people will realise just how good he is, Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko's a really, really clever signing. I can't really understand why City have let him go. Maybe they will get another left back in, but I think he's going to really show quality. The fact he can play in midfield as well, I think he's going to shine for Arsenal. But Saliba's one for me, I think, will really make that difference to Arsenal's back line.
That's a good shout, mate. Good shout. Kendall?
Yeah, mine was Alvarez as well.
Oh yeah, you did. You gave it a song.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
apologies.
No, that's all right. Yeah, Alvarez, I don't think he's so good. I do agree with what Oscar said earlier about Carvalho as well. I think he looks a very decent player, and again, he's very young, so Klopp can easily just put him into a system at any point and make him into what he is. I think, to be honest, I think there's been some really decent signings in the Premier League this window.
Yeah.
Really, really good signings. Like even just like Scamacca, for example. Like I think he's not gone under the radar, but I just don't think people realize how good he probably can be. So yeah, and I really am looking forward to seeing Saliba back, and I hope that he does actually get game time this year, because obviously, notoriously, him and Arteta don't have a massively good relationship. So yeah, I do hope we do see things for him. So yeah, I think there's going to be some decent signings this season.
Definitely, for sure. Corey?
I think Kamara possibly at Aston Villa will be a really important signing for them, just in terms of tactically. I think what Steven Gerrard needs in a lone DM. I think if this happens, if Levi Colwill goes to Brighton, I think that might be a really good signing. I think he could really grow in terms of being in a back three, and particularly with Graham Potter. So I think those two, and obviously Gianluca, I think he could surprise. He will go one of two ways, and that's the bit I'm slightly concerned about. He will either be one of those players people watch and go, "How have West Ham pulled this off?" Like he's linking the play, he's playing in behind, or he will struggle. But I'm hopeful that it will translate over to the Prem.
Fingers crossed for you, mate. Let's not have another Haller.
I've heard it all before, mate. Trust me, I've seen the story. I know the pain.
Locks.
I've gone James Maddison. I've got a.
It just won't end.
Mate, come on. 18 goals.
Knox, how many years has James Maddison been in the Premier League?
This time last year, I was slagging him off on this channel like ridiculously. So, I'm over the moon how he's turned things around. It's weird. Like he's like a completely different player to 12 months ago. Obviously, he started at Leicester, really, really well. His start at Leicester. I think he's since he signed for Leicester, I think he's fourth or third on most chances created in the Premier League since he signed in 2018. But yeah, 18 goals, 12 assists, and most of them come in the second half of last season as well. He just seems to have got his head down. No more boohoo man ranges during, before big games and stuff like that. And even if he did end up at Newcastle or wherever he ended up, I still think he's going to have a great season. So yeah, for me, he's the one to watch. I think it's going to be difficult, mate, because obviously, Leicester fans have been slagging off Southgate for a few months. Obviously, Maddison not getting into that England team, and if he plays like he did at the second half of last season, I honestly don't know how he doesn't get in the England squad, because I think he was the best of the number 10s, the second half of last season, the best of the English number 10s, 100% last season.
You've said it yourself, though, right? He's out in casinos. He's doing boo man ranges. I know managers should look past that, but Gareth don't. And if he comes in and upsets the apple cart, he won't go near him, man.
Well, that was like,
Joe, we just lost 4-0 to Hungary. I think we need that fearless, don't give a what kind of attitude.
But he won't, though. You know this, though. He won't.
Well, like I just said about him on the pitch, like he looks like a completely different player to what he was a year ago. So, and off the pitch, he seems, I don't sound stupid because he's a 25-year-old man, but he seems like he's not doing anything stupid. He's got a kid now. He seems to have settled down a little bit, and he's just focusing on his football. And that's all he needed to do for the last kind of 18 months. He just needed to do that, and now it looks like he has. So, it's whether Southgate forgives him for that, if it deserves, if it needed forgiving. But yeah, 100% over the last few months, man. I don't know how he didn't get in the last English squad. Honestly, he was absolutely sensational the last 6 months of the season. So if he continues, I think he's got to be at least in the when is the next international? You said there was one more, right, before the World Cup. When is that?
End of September.
So if he starts the season well, because he's been good in pre-season as well. If he starts the season well, he's got to be in that. At least given another chance. So.
First, James Maddison one to watch. There you go. Right, we've got first manager to be sacked. You know, mine's going to be every day of the week. It is, of course, Mr. Fat Frank Lampard. He hasn't got Scooby-Doo. He's already losing his head in pre-season.
Same.
Yeah, Chelsea at the weekend. I think they get beat and beat well, and yeah, he'll just be calling everyone. It's everyone's fault except Frank Lampard. My main worry is he'll be sacked before November, and we'll have to deal with this commentary in World Cup. That is my only issue. Like, as long as he can get to maybe after the World Cup, then sack him, because we'll just have. Because that's what he'll do, though, right? He'll go from being a manager to being a pundit. That it's written. I think if he gets done at Everton, there's nowhere for him to go now. I don't think. I think
other than Championship, I don't think his ego will let him. Will it?
His ego won't let him, Corey. Exactly. He'll be like, I'm bigger than all these. You know what I mean? He'll be gone. That's my pick anyway. Who wants to go up next?
Brendan Rodgers.
Brendan Rodgers.
Really?
Yeah.
Go on, get some.
What, do you
I
need
don't
me
think. Just I don't think it'll be. I don't think they'll blame him for what's going on at the club. That's why I think he might just survive.
I mean, I think last season we had a good enough squad to finish higher than we did, to be honest with you. I know we had injuries and stuff, but yeah, I'm surprised I'm surprised he survived the season. Leicester aren't skin. We're not skin. Like this, this narrative is wrong. We're not skin. We're just being careful with what we're doing. Obviously, last season we made a couple big signings. Obviously, Daka and Samari. Daka's been average. Samari was awful. I think we're just being careful. I think if they really were backing a manager, I think they would have given them some cash to spend this summer. So I don't think they're 100% sure on Rodgers. If I'm honest. Lamps is obviously an easy one to say, but yeah, Rodgers, I think first or second, definitely. I think he'll be gone by end of October, early November, if I'm honest.
That's wild, I think. But you know more than me. I'm not saying your opinion's right. I just think if Rodgers was to be sacked, it'd be madness. But then it starts a merry-go-round, doesn't it? Because then Everton go, get out Frank Lampard, get in Brendan Rodgers. There's all this sort of stuff that could happen. Kendall, you said Frank Lampard, right? Yeah. Corey?
Marco Silva. It just feels like it's kind of half nailed on with. It's just him. It's just every time he goes into these clubs, like he literally lasts about 2.5, 3 months. I've never seen him get past Christmas. So, but I don't think Lampard will be too far behind. If I'm honest, I think it will be within a couple of weeks of each other.
Yeah, for sure. And Oscar?
Yeah, I'm going to go Marco Silva. I think it's going to be a really interesting race between Marco Silva and Frank Lampard, to be fair. I just can't see either of them seeing the season out. Maybe that might come back to bite me. I don't know, but I just can't see it. I think Marco Silva, as Corey said, there's just something about Marco Silva's personality that when things start to go bad, he's a bit like Frank Lampard in terms of that interview. He just turns on the players, turns on the board. I think he can become very dislikable for fans of the club he manages. I think you've seen it at Everton, Watford, just as he was sacked. Things start to drop off a bit at Fulham. I could see that possibly being a problem. The recruitment's been bad as well. I just don't see Scott Parker's been mentioned, but I think Bournemouth will treat him a little bit like Daniel Farke at Norwich. I think he will be given a bit more time there. But Marco Silva for me. But Lampard won't be far behind at all.
Just seen here. Have you seen the stuff about Conor Cody?
No.
He's been allowed to leave Wolves in order to get first team football in a World Cup year, and Everton are going to sign him, I think.
He's a Scouser, isn't he?
Yeah, Tarkowski and Cody. What do we reckon?
I love Conor Cody. I wanted Conor Cody at Newcastle for years and years and years. It'd be for 5 years now, but I wanted Conor Cody at Newcastle. I mean, not now because I'm just getting ahead of myself a bit. I've got a bit of ego now. I'm like, I think we're better than Conor Cody now. No, but I love Conor Cody. I think it's a really, really.
I know it's really novel. I think Conor Cody's a good player, but I think more so he's a leader. And I think if Everton could nick him for whatever reason, hypothetically, then you wouldn't you? Because he's so important within that dressing room.
Yeah.
And he's
him and Tarkowski at the back would be like you said.
No, I mean, look,
leadership.
Cody is different in the back four compared to a back three. I'm not saying it, and he is limited in certain situations, but he's still a good enough Premier League centre back. So.
Yeah, it's
It's a bit
This
mad.
is
I
like a
wouldn't
really
expect
silly
more,
thing to say, but the problem for Cody is he's such a public Liverpool fan. He's been so public about how much he loves Liverpool. You know, obviously coming through Everton. That when we lost on Everton fans, and it might sound daft, but knowing Everton fans, I don't know.
You Rafa, didn't you? Literally from the off.
Yeah, it gives me that kind of vibe. I think Cody, in terms of what he can do on the pitch, I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think, to be honest with you, I'd half consider him for Leeds. You know, not a problem at all. But I don't know. I think that might go down quite badly. I don't know.
It's funny because I'm just looking on Twitter, bro, and there's a screen grab of him. Someone messaging him on Instagram saying, "Big win tomorrow, please, Con. Put another nail in Everton's coffin." And his response is, "Morning, Johnny lad. Sorry for the late reply. Being up all night, emptying my pockets. Had Richarlison and the rest of that shite in them. How was that for a nail? Shite them, aren't they?" So someone's already screen grabbed that and put, "What, this Connor Cody?" So yeah, you're probably right that it won't go down. But listen, football's fickle. Like, let's not forget that. If he comes in and him and Tarkowski are keeping clean sheets, they'll be singing his name, man. That's the way the cookie crumbles, man. As long as you're winning games, don't care. That's the truth of it, right? So, yeah, they'll be... I mean, they had Rafa, for God's sake. They had Rafa Benitez, so they're not going to not take Connor Cody because he's a Liverpool fan.
They didn't take Rafa, though, did they? They hated Rafa.
But he still came in the door, though, is what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not saying they won't sign him, but I think that's more Lampard being a little bit tone deaf with the Everton fans. I don't think the Everton fans will. I'm not saying they're right. I'm not saying the Everton fans are right.
Mate, survival, like...
No, I know that, but I just know what... I've not got any problem with Everton fans, but I know how that will go down. It will not go down well, that. Honestly, I just can't see that going down well with the Everton fans. The fact he's been such a public Liverpool fan. He's mates with Carragher, different bits and pieces. I don't think it'll go down well, to be honest, unless he does play really well, and there's no reason why he can't.
That's fair. Right, let's quickly. I know we've been on for ages now, haven't we? Thank you for all coming on and being patiently, and for those that are watching. I want to know where your teams are going to finish. Oscar, I'll start with you.
14th, I think. And to be honest with you, I just think you look at the likes of Palace, Villa, I think will be around bottom bit of the mid-table. You look at the pre-season, I still think we're quite a bit off those teams, but I think we're better than the teams in and around that bottom three. So 14th seems about right for me. I'd take that right now, to be honest, something like that.
100%. I said 14th as well, mate. So I'll take that every day of the week. Corey?
Yeah, I'm gonna pluck with 7th. I don't think it's foregone by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's tough from teams either dropping down or pushing us really hard this season. It'll probably be the hardest one for us to kind of keep in contention for, but I'm going to back us. Business has been good enough, and if we get a couple more through the door, then nothing will be competitive, even in Europe.
Nice, love that. Go all the way, bro. Kendall?
Nothing wrong with it.
9th. I'll be happy with 10th. Because that's still improvement. We've not been consistently top half of the table for a long time. I mean, we've got 10th under Rafa, that's fair enough, but we have not consistently been in the top 10 year on year for a long time. So yeah, I will be over the moon with 10th, but I predict us 9th.
9th, nice. And Locks?
I'm gonna say 12th. Yeah, 12th.
There you go, and that's why
I think we could finish 10th, but 12th. I'm gonna say, yeah.
That's so bad for Leicester, isn't it, man? Premier League champions, Europe. You see what I mean? Honestly, bad times, mate. Bad times.
We all have them. We
do, mate. We do, yeah. We do. Right, folks. I think that brings us to the end of the Premier League predictions. Right. We'll probably be back on Monday. I need to speak to the people and whatnot, but we'll sort something out. What has folk got going over the weekend? Kendall, have you got anything going? Are you at the game?
No, back at St James's on Saturday. Looking forward to it, to be fair. I mean, we were there last week, but different when it's a league game, and obviously we've got Forest first game, so it'd be nice to see them back into the Premier League. Obviously I don't want to see them too nice, don't want to welcome them too much, I still want to win. But yeah, it'd be nice, it'd be decent, and obviously big flag displays as we've decided to make a habit of now. So yeah, I'm really, really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it quite good. I can't lie. War flags. It looks good. Locks, what's going on? Do you even have a channel anymore, bro?
No. I just
Not
watch.
Leicester. Does you
Just enjoy.
Jack has one, doesn't he?
I don't know, mate. Honestly, I've
Okay.
I've just been in the clouds, mate. Recently, to be fair, I've just been trying to. Yeah, so I've just seen. Sorry, I just saw a comment. Rogers leaves and Frank takes over Leicester. Jesus Christ! Can you imagine?
That'll be like nightmares. That'll literally be.
That was what some Leicester fans wanted him last season. Actually,
What was that, Thomas Frank?
No, I think he's on about Fat Frank. To be fair, well, he might be on about Thomas Frank. I'd take Thomas Frank. No channel, mate. I'll just be watching everyone else's. To be fair, so yeah. Looking forward to the King Power. They've taken away the clappers. I don't know if you know what the clappers are.
Thank God.
Yeah, they've taken out the clappers. A lot of people wanted them gone. So the stadium will probably be silent without the clappers.
I was going to say, will you have an atmosphere now?
Yeah, people they'll actually have to clap and sing. So yeah. I can't wait to get beat 3-0. 3-0 by Thomas Frank on the weekend. Can't wait.
He's such an optimist.
Rogers will be at the mans and backs just to drown out the booze, won't he?
Yeah.
Corey, what's going down, bro?
So I'm going to do a pre-match for Man City, which would be really enjoyable talking about them and especially watching them live because they're honestly probably one of the most horrifying experiences you can when you see them and how good they are. But I'll try and get through it and see Erling Haaland live in the flesh, which would be quite interesting as well. And then I'll do a little post-match after it. And fingers crossed, we've caught them so early that maybe we can get something from the game. But listen, I think it'd be good atmosphere. It's first game back of the season. I'm looking forward to it. This weekend generally is going to be pretty exciting just to get back into stuff.
Didn't you take points off from last year as well?
Did indeed. 2-2.
Yeah, so
2-2. Jared by a masterclass. Same would be nice. Bit of Skamaka. See what he's like. Does he change the dynamic? The teams, they don't know what to do with him anymore. I need to see all of these things. That's what I want to see. But listen, they're a nuts team.
Who's starting at centre back, bro?
I'm gonna go. It'll probably be Zuma and Dawson. So Dawson's going to have to step up. We've got a real injury crisis at centre back. It's not good. It is. You know, Angelo's been struggling now for best part of 8-9 months. Dawson's had injury problems last season. Agaird's out for 3 months, so it's going to be tough. But listen, Tommy Souček's looking all right in pre-season. Soufal's looking back at it. So let's see if we can do something, mate. I'll take a point. Let's move on and beat Nottingham Forest, hopefully.
Fingers crossed, mate. And Oscar, what's going down?
Oh, sorry.
Come on, mate.
I was just going to ask because I saw a comment earlier. Do Leeds get something from the Schmeichel? Obviously, we only got $1 million for him, but don't you boys get something?
Apparently, so there was a sell-on clause, but it won't be much, mate. I've seen something, but when you seen that he went for $1 million, I mean, I'm not. To be honest, he's a dick, so I'm not really that fussed. I'm not a big fan of his, to be honest.
All I think of is, has it ever been home? That's all I ever think of when I see him now, and I'm like.
Yeah. We used to sing. Your dad.
You can get people excited.
Yeah. You're all right, but your dad's a right. Sorry, Schmeichel, but he played for Leeds. Obviously, we used to sing it like Alex Bruce and obviously Steve Bruce, and it's meant in jest, but like the guy took it literally and did like interviews saying like. They were singing about my dad, and it was like, "Oh my God, get a grip, bro!" Like we weren't like, I don't know. I just since then anyway.
Even that good for us, like genuinely, he wasn't even that good for us. He was still young. He was still. Listen, I thought he'd be a decent keeper. I never thought he'd get to the Premier League and like where he was with Leicester. So fair play to him. But yeah, he just seemed a bit fragile to me at Leeds. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Stop calling me dad names and that, you know what I mean? Like, get a grip, man. You're at football, you know what I mean? Like,
Call him names instead, to be prepared.
Yeah. Oscar, what you got going down anyway?
Yeah, quite a bit going on at LEEDS TV. We did predictions yesterday. Earlier this evening, put up a opposition preview with Dave from Talking Wolves. Top lad is Dave. Spoke about Wolves this season. What to expect from Wolves, even including the fact that they're going to go over back 4, he thinks, on Saturday, which is quite interesting. topic of conversation. Match preview will be going out probably tomorrow morning. Do a lineup prediction as well, and then just the usual post-match stuff. Going to try and do it outside the ground potentially, and we'll see how it goes. It's a little idea I'm playing around with, but if it's chucking it down, busy, I'll probably just bin that off. But I'll do a match preview of some sort as well, review even.
Yeah, good stuff. Make sure you check everyone's channels out, folks, and their Twitters and Twitches and Instagrams and just everything under the sun. Make sure you give them all a follow. I'll be back tomorrow lunchtime with a transfer stream with Team Talk and also a preview dropping as well. And then I'm doing the Arsenal versus Palace game as well, so join me for that if you can be tuned. Thanks as always for watching, and we will see you again very, very soon. And just thanks for you four as well for giving up your Fridays. So thank you for that. Peace out, everyone.